It's our great pleasure to present this citation for the conferral by Carleton University of an honorary degree on Dr. Sulley Gariba, the first African graduate of the university to receive this honor. I think that's a good thing. Let's start with a brief story. In 2001 and 2009, in his home country of Ghana, Sulley Gariba served on the transition teams that smoothly stewarded two different newly elected national governments to power, the first in Ghana's half a century of independence. What was rare for Ghana and for most countries was that he was appointed to these teams by two different and fiercely competitive political parties. Think about the Liberals and the Conservatives. He served each with diligence and foresight because that is what statespersons do. Exactly 25 years ago, Dr. Gariba completed his PhD in political science here at Carleton. From the moment we met him, we knew he would be a nation builder. It was a question of not if, but when and how. From the dusty streets of the regional town of Tamale in northern Ghana to the office of the Presidency of Ghana, where Sulley Gariba is now Senior Policy Advisor to President John Dramani Mahama, his journey has been a remarkable one. That journey has run straight through Carleton University, where he was an activist for international students, built lifetime relationships with academic and professional colleagues as well. He also met his wife, Naotame Gariba. She's also a Carleton alumna with a master's in statistics and math. They met in 1985. And their oldest daughter, Lotlo Gariba, would later earn an MA in public policy at Carleton as well. Now that's a family commitment to Carleton. And here we must pay tribute to Nao Gariba, life partner, mother, business manager, caregiver during times of illness, an insightful advisor on all matters. It is clear that none of Dr. Gariba's achievements would have been possible without her wise and committed partnership. And his achievements have been many. Simply put, Sulley Gariba has gained a reputation as one of the most gifted policy analysts and practitioners in the developing world. That's a big world. He began by advising and monitoring Canadian aid projects in water and local governance in northern Ghana. But he went further, establishing one of the most innovative consultancies in Ghana, Gariba Development Associates, and later a dynamic think tank, the Institute for Policy Alternatives for Action Research, Conferences and Training in the North. Along the way, the Gariba family also conceived, built, managed, and expanded Gariba Lodge, Tamale's first executive-class hotel. In addition, Dr. Gariba led or participated in global evaluations for multilateral organizations on HIV and AIDS, on the Paris Declaration, and on many other landmark studies. He was elected the first president of the International Development Evaluation Association and taught here at the Carleton University World Bank International Program for Development Evaluation Training. He also served as president of the African Evaluation Association. At the same time, he became a sought-after political advisor and frequent media commentator on Ghanaian politics, earning the respect of all of Ghana's political parties on most days. Most recently, he designed, lobbied for, and incubated the Savannah Accelerated Development Agency, a government body that promotes rural development in Ghana's north. And he continues to work as a member of Ghana's National Development Planning Commission as the longest-serving appointee of that body. Now, back to Carleton. Dr. Gariba's dissertation focused on poverty reduction in Ghana's north. Not only did he do a marvelous job of unpacking the forces creating and sustaining poverty, but he returned to Ghana to use all of his talents and energy to work with others to fight against it. We should all be proud that Carleton provided the launch pad for this powerful drive to build a better country and a better world. Mr. Chancellor, in recognition of long-standing work and academic scholarship in international development, civil society, government policy, and program development in Africa, I request that you confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, upon Sulley Gariba.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Governors and upon recommendation by the Senate, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Mr. Chancellor, Chair of the Board, Madam President, fellow graduates, and honored guests, I stand before you today as a humble messenger and servant of the peoples of Africa. Born and bred in Africa, trained at Carleton University for the service of Africa. In my culture, education is only a tool for the transformation of self and society. Wealth is the extent to which you influence and change people's lives and livelihoods, not the amount of money or assets that you accumulate. Long before you embark on a journey, in fact, from your birth, the oracles of our culture foretell your destiny. Thus, I was named Sulley Bamidele, meaning follow me back home. As I set out on my study abroad, my mother whispered into my ears, remember and honor the traditional name that you carry. Come back home, and come home safely. So it was that my every aspiration for 10 years during my studies at Carleton was to take my knowledge and every artifact of culture and tradition that I learned here in Canada back home in the service of my people. The pursuit of knowledge here at Carleton University entailed understanding cultures of different peoples. And I tell you, here at Carleton, already was beginning in the early 80s to be a melting point of several cultures and traditions, and how these translate into our own interpretation of development and progress. The knowledge I acquired enabled me to establish a network of international students associations here on campus to cause the adaptation of many students to their new home, and later to establish a professional practice both here in Canada and back home on effective cross-cultural communications for development. This was the era when a lot of Canadian young men and women, middle-aged men and women, professionals were going to Ghana and to Africa to help other societies in their development and transformation process. My detailed grounding in comparative development policies provided the tools for understanding and testing development dynamics in very rural settings in Africa in a manner that progress can be made without destroying the fabric of culture and ecology. Mr. Chancellor, Chair of the Board, Madam President, fellow graduates and honored guests, what started for me as a journey for self-improvement earned me a lovely wife who I met right here at Carleton University. And with my lovely wife, 4 adorable children, the oldest of whom is also a Carleton alumni. In addition the very last born in our family, was compelled, because Carleton is our family university, to also attend and graduate at Carleton University. I was taught, tutored, and nurtured by some of the toughest professors, and I'm sure fellow graduates, you can attest to the toughness of these professors, whose singular objective was to guide us towards excellence. Today, these professors represent the molds that shape my own personal pursuit of excellence. Professor Linda Freeman, who is unable to be here with us today, epitomized incredible rigor in academic discipline and generosity to me and my family. To her, my family and I owe enormous gratitude. As I acquired the tools that will later transform me and my society, I met a professional partner, Dr. Ted Jackson, who just gave a glowing rendition of our relationship, and gained a Canadian family in the process. Through them and many others, bridges have been cemented between two worlds previously apart and now linked through the umbilical cord of friendship, partnership, and professional excellence. My family, my country, and indeed the entire continent of Africa and its people owe a debt of gratitude to God Almighty and to Carleton University for this honor. And today, I rededicate myself and this degree to the marginalized peoples of Africa, that soon they shall join the community of people enjoying the benefits of sustainable development in pride and in dignity. I thank you very much.